Hi Sagittarius, welcome to the rest of October 2016, the general tarot reading. And it's very interesting because on the 30th of October, there is a new moon in the 12th house. And so this is like a new beginning in the last house of the zodiac. At the end of November, there will be a new moon in Sagittarius, and that will be the beginning of our solar cycle, because I'm a sun in Sagittarius myself. So having this new moon in the 12th house can indicate almost like a new beginning in some kind of spiritual practice, or I think that's a very good way of looking at it. Like maybe there's some kind of meditation course or energy healing course that you would like to take, and it will you'll embark on a whole new journey, investigating things that you have not done so far. I certainly, for years, was involved in things like astrology, and even the tarot, even though that came later, I knew of it. And just recently have gotten Reiki attuned to the second level. So that's something new, energy healing. And that might be something that appeals to some of you as well. So let's look. This is just a general reading though. So this can include any kind of area in life. Oops, I think I put this here. That's interesting. The High Priestess really goes along with that 12th house, that's for sure. So the centerpiece of this end of October is the Strength card. This could literally be somebody who is a Leo. It has that type of energy. And you see the symbol of Leo is the lion. But the Strength card is maybe showing that, you have had something in the recent past that you've had to kind of overcome. And almost like a pat on the back. I'm thinking about myself. I don't know how my fellow Sagittarians have been faring so far in October, but I have felt it's been pretty challenging. And actually, in watching some of the energy updates on YouTube and things like that, people said, oh yeah, these energy workers were saying that that October was going to be a lot easier than September, and I haven't found that to be true at all. So agitation, sense of like a lot of aggressiveness and things like that. And I've also been sensing it in the general population, like people are on edge. And so I don't know if I'm projecting that onto other people, but it seems like that's what it's been like. So maybe just at its basic core, this card is saying that you've come through something. And in the last half of October, maybe things will start to calm down and we will feel a lot more supported. I will say that when the sun enters Scorpio, at least for those of us with the sun in Sagittarius, this will be our solar 12th house. If you have Sagittarius rising, then for sure. And of course, it depends on degrees too. But some people wonder, is the solar chart as important as the natal chart? Well, I personally think that the natal chart is the most important of all because it deals with your exact time of birth. So it's like that blueprint of when you came into this world. And so that's what I try to use in private readings as much as possible. Obviously, in public readings, I can only do a generalized kind of thing. So it's going to be much more, I would say, symbolic, not, you know, pinpointed. And I'm talking about also with the astrological transits. But let's just say that, you know, when the sun goes into the 12th house, it's more of an internal time. You know, you kind of like, it's kind of hibernation time for the next month. And, you know, contemplation, you know, before you kind of make your debut in late November when we have that new moon and into December. So the strength card might be saying up until that point, we're kind of holding on, and then we have the opportunity to relax into that period of time as we nest, as we kind of like prepare for our next cycle. And in the recent past, we have the Four of Cups. So even though this has different definitions, I think it will tend to reflect maybe a certain dissatisfaction that has occurred. Sometimes it can be an offer that was received and was met with disinterest. You know, an offer, what is an offer? I mean, an offer can be in any area. It could be if you were dealing with personal property, maybe, you know, a perfect example is like an inheritance or something like that, and you didn't like the terms or the offers and you rejected it, and the Strength card is saying you stuck by your guns. And actually, you know, that's in that particular scenario, what's coming in is quite nice. The Queen of Pentacles is a card of, you know, total abundance. In a real sense of having a comfortable life. Okay, so, you know, a comfortable home. So this might even be a property matter. So maybe it's like saying you stuck to your guns during this last half of October and you get the prize. Now, this could also be in terms of a job. Maybe you were offered a job and maybe you were tempted, like for 1 second, to accept it, but you were not interested in it. And so you eventually rejected it, having the strength to do so, and now you got something better in some way. In some way you attracted something better to you. And so, you know, it's so funny because I was like just dealing with those first two cards and I was like, okay, where is this going? And then I saw that Queen of Pentacles and I said, it's going in a great place. And that's why the Strength card is the centerpiece, because it really shows that when we have backbone, it can pay off for us, you know? And sometimes, you know, sometimes you have to kind of cut your losses, right? But in this particular scenario, you know, having the guts to hold out, which is what this is, holding out, you know, not accepting what was offered initially, you know, paid off. And the higher perspective kind of reminds me of that Queen of Pentacles. This is the Empress card. So this is a card also of abundance. This is a card of creativity. This is a card of motherhood. Yeah, that's interesting too, because these could be players here. There could be a Leo person, which is another fire sign. And maybe in the past you were dealing with somebody that was, you know, didn't light your fire the way a Leo can only do. And maybe it was somebody who was a water sign, if you really want to get technical. Maybe it was somebody who was a Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. But it, you know, it could have easily been an earth sign or an air sign, somebody that was kind of blah, you know, and you just weren't feeling it, and you're much more interested in that fire sign. Or, you know, the Strength card could be you just, you know, having the guts to end a relationship that wasn't working, and now you're with somebody who is an earth sign and you really have hit it off. So a Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. The empress could just be, you want to, obviously this would be a woman, that you want to be a mother. And maybe this person is more suitable for starting a family with. Or that's an aspect of you, Queen. That's a mother energy around you. And Pentacles is the earth element. So that's like kind of a very grounded, so a very tangible kind of a thing. So I could see like an earth mother type of an energy in some fashion. But what is your challenge position is the Six of Swords. And this is, in the upright position, the Six of Swords is about moving towards calm waters. And so in the challenge position, it's like maybe you haven't been able to move on in some way. If you were with somebody, maybe they are still there in some way. You haven't really progressed. Maybe you've left them emotionally, but not officially. And that has to occur. And, it's something that I feel like a lot of people, that's part of the problem when it comes to relationships, is that people want to have their ideal relationship. And even when they see the contrast with that, when they're in a relationship that isn't working, they are afraid to leave it because they're afraid that there might not be something else out there for them. In this case, I feel like there is somebody, waiting in the wings, so to speak, but the other person may kind of create a bit of a, I don't know what you'd call it, a bit of an obstacle for you to move on. The other possibility is that this person, I had mentioned that it could have been an air sign. Maybe that person that is in the past position is an air sign. A Gemini, Aquarius, Libra. And maybe they're not, going gently into the night. Maybe they're still, to quote Dylan Thomas, maybe they're still in the picture, hanging around, and wreaking havoc on your new relationship. That's atypical for air signs to kind of linger. Unless on the emotional level, maybe they still try to start crap with you, just to kind of keep you in that state of in a combative state. But they're not the type to really stalk anybody, unless they have Scorpio in them, I guess. But the other thing too is that if this is somehow related to career, it could be that you don't want to travel for work, and you don't like to travel, and maybe the job requires that, and so that's something you have to work out. The advice is the Ace of Pentacles, and this is that portal. There you go again. This could be start that relationship with that earth sign. If they are, if they're a good person, that may be just the person for you. I mean, personally, as a Sagittarian, I can't think of an earth sign as being that compatible. Even though I have a lot of earth, I don't think I would want to be with an earth sign. But some of you may beg to differ. And this is also, by the way, I'm always veering into a love relationship, but this could be a job offer, and that you take the job offer. And, worry about the details of traveling later. Maybe it's just a matter of taking that job offer and starting on that new path. Now, maybe you're going to start your own business too. That's always a possibility. And but it's a very positive card in terms of work matters or job matters. The outcome is the High Priestess. So again, I'm saying that new moon in the 12th house, a new beginning in your spiritual life, being in touch with your higher self more readily. And that will help every, aspect of your life, Sagittarius. That will help your relationships. That will help your general feeling of happiness, your creative self, your entrepreneurial or business self. Everything is helped by getting in touch with your higher self. And so enjoy and take care of yourselves. Bye.